From the land of Lord of the Rings, where we know hobbits run around and play, comes a new classic card game called Flesh and Blood. The story starts off with a guy named James White from New Zealand. Growing up, he started playing Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering was just hitting its legs at that point. Competitive was just happening, and he was in it for the best time ever. What he found from Magic was he was able to make friends, make connections, and honestly just gather. And that is where he really found his love for trading card games, was being able to make connections with people and growing with people through a game. Eventually he started working for Magic the Gathering. The place that he found all of his love, connections, and growth, he was able to get a job from, which honestly that sounds like the dream. And so he started with that, and then he went to Hasbro, and he was a New Zealand representative for them. But after a while, he saw the way Magic was going, how it was veering onto the online, and he knew there had to be a change. He knew that people could not lose that connection from in-person play. So he started a brainchild. He started thinking of ways he could improve the game, or just ways he could make his own game so people would actually play in person, make connections, and get to know one another like he did in the past. This was back in 2012 that he realized he had to keep this gem preserved, honestly, where people playing together, learning together, this was one of the most meaningful things someone can have through a card game. You don't really get that much through if you do it through a computer, you know? This isn't the AI. This isn't the Matrix. Or is it? You know, some days you just... So he started his brainchild, Flesh and Blood. I mean, I think you can understand why it's called the Flesh and the Blood. Not just because we're meat bags, but because we got flesh and we got blood. I don't know about you. I hope I do. Some days I get scared, I'm not gonna lie, that I'm an AI. From the time that he decided he wanted to make his own card game that really incorporated getting together with people and playing, he's just been brainstorming, meeting with other peoples and investors, telling him his idea. In 2017, LSS was created, founded, boom, it gave birth to itself. James White created it, as well as a group of other people I'm sure of. But this was going to be the next step to building his dream, the cardboard empire he wants, where people can play in person, meet each other. After it was founded, it was just time to get running. Time to get Flesh and Blood on its feet and out to the people. Now that he had a solid backbone and he had a big company to help support him get there, he launched Flesh and Blood. This was in 2019. The first release was in October. It was Welcome to Wraith, the alpha set. But I don't know if you remember anything much from 2019 and 2020. Stuff hit the fan. It was a comet storm of craziness. We know what happened. For Flesh and Blood to actually still be here to this day and survive through all of the you know what happened, that's impressive. That is a stand of testament. That is a stand of time showing this card game actually has some backbone to it. It's not just whatever the foo-foo fugazi people say online. Then in March, Arcane Rising came out right before everything hit the fan, and it took off without a hitch. It was a huge hit, success. People loved the set. Things were still going well, even though craziness has ensued throughout the world. Crucible of War came out, and that was in August. Then all the unlimited sets for the first couple sets started coming out, and it actually looked like a player base was forming. People were getting into the game. Stuff was being distributed. Then the company started having more sets, more events, more players actually getting into it. Not just the investors of everything that you've heard of. The game started taking off. And I just don't mean take off. I mean, we're riding the rocket ship to space, boys. Which is an unbelievable great thing. More sets kept coming out. And then last year in 2021, they started doing the callings, which is comparable to a Grand Prix or a Magic Fest of anything of that nature. A huge player-based event that went on. That was epic. And then this year in 2022, we're having the first Pro Tour. This is the first huge pro circuit that a Flesh and Blood has ever had. Huge news. All the first Proquests just went off. They just ended. That was awesome. I was able to attend 5 of them. Sadly, no PTIs on my end, but you know, it's the way it runs. And that is the history of Flesh and Blood. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned something. If you had any comments down below, definitely throw it down there in case I missed something I need to add, or telling me I'm just wrong. But I really appreciate everything. Please like, subscribe, do all that you do. If not, I'll see you in the next one.